Hi YouTube, today we're going to look at a pretty cool Smith Wesson revolver. What we have here in front of us is a Smith Wesson 629 44 Magnum. It's a 6-shot 44 Magnum revolver. Now, we're going to go into this a little bit. I've showed it a couple times, comparing it to other things, but I've never done a dedicated video to it to show you why I like this so much and why this is one of my favorite revolvers that I have. So let's start off with a little bit of history about the 629. Smith Wesson 629 came out around 1978. It was a stainless version of the famous Model 29 that came out in the mid-50s. The Model 29 was a blued version, and you could also get them in nickel, and they were made really famous in the 70s when Dirty Harry carried his famous most powerful handgun in the world 44 Magnum. His was a Model 29-2, I believe it was. And this is just a stainless version of that. Now, this is a very unique and very hard to find gun right here, and this really stuck out to me when I've seen it. Now, I've seen a lot of rare firearms in my life, held a lot of rare firearms in my life, owned rare firearms in my life, but I'm telling you, I've only seen 3 of these in person in real life, and that's including this one. Now, I've seen a couple of them on Gunbroker here and there. Every now and then one of them will pop up. I do not know exactly how many of these they made, but it wasn't a lot. But this is a 629-3, and they call it the Classic Hunter. And I'm going to show you some of the differences in this and a common 629. Now, this is the what they call the end frame. If I've got my Smith & Wesson alphabet correct, the end frame is the largest frame that Smith & Wesson made up until the modern times, where they came out with that gigantic X frame that they have the Smith & Wesson 500 in. But for a while, this was the largest frame that they made, and you could get a 357 Magnum like the Model 27 or the Model 28 in the end frame, or you could get the 29 and now the 629 in that frame. Now, what makes this thing unique is, to start off with, I know they still make an unfluted cylinder in 44 Magnum. I'm well aware of that. They don't make this one. This is a pre-lock. It doesn't have the little hole there. This is a 6-inch instead of a 6.5-inch full underlug, an unfluted cylinder, and the famous firing pin on the hammer that all Smith & Wesson people have to have. Now, the majority of the 629s that you'll run into, the older ones like these, this one will have a 6.5-inch barrel, be about that long. This underlug will be cut off about in the middle, and it'll have a fluted cylinder like most normal revolvers that you've seen. And this one's just very unique. It's got walnut target grips on it. Back strap is serrated. It's got a wide target hammer on it. It's got adjustable sights for windage and elevation. They are blacked out. There's no white outline on it. The front sight is just black. It's got a wide target hammer that's also serrated. The face of it's serrated. No lock on it, I already mentioned that. The firing pin's mounted on the hammer. Now, with this gun, one of the things that makes this gun my gun is I had this gun sent off to my local gunsmith, and he did an action job on it. Now, he is the Smith & Wesson whisperer. He loves Smith & Wesson revolvers, and he's the best at making them work good. Now, I'm going to show you how easy this action works. When you pull this thing back, you're not going to find a smoother working revolver than this. What he does to these Smith & Wessons is unbelievable. Now the single action, it's not hard to make a single action really soft, but this one is extremely light. Now where all the money is in his double action work. This thing is so smooth. There's no stacking, no grittiness. It just works straight all the way through. And I know I'm probably freaking out some Smith Wesson white glovers out there because I'm dry firing a gun that has a firing pin on the hammer, and I'm not using gloves to handle it because this is a workhorse. That's what Smith Wesson revolvers are. They're workhorses. They don't break. If they were that fragile, they wouldn't be any good. Now I'm going to go over some of the roll marks on it. The side plate here just has the Made in the USA and a couple other little things. It just says 44 Magnum on the side. On the other side of the barrel, it just says Smith & Wesson. And it has their logo right here on the side plate on the other side. Grips are awesome looking. They're walnut target grips. They have the little Smith & Wesson medallions on them. This gun's in excellent condition, and it is one of my favorites. Now, a lot of people liked the Model 29 because of the dirty, hairy thing. I was always partial to the 629, and it's almost embarrassing to tell you why. But when I was a kid, I used to watch this show that, if you watch it now, it's kind of stupid, but it's still funny. It reminds me of my childhood. It was called Sledgehammer. You have to look that up. Not a lot of people's heard of it. It was slapstick comedy, and it was about a cop that he carried around Smith & Wesson 629. He had ivory grips on it, and he had a little sledgehammer engraved on it. I thought it was hilarious. I used to watch it with my dad, and that's what made me start liking the Smith & Wesson 629 44 Magnum. But I have not done a video where I showcase this gun, told you all about it. Look at the size of that hole. It's not recessed or crowned. That wasn't a thing back when this gun was made, but this is one of my favorite revolvers that I have. I will never sell this thing. If I got starving to death, this would be one of the last ones to go. But it is a very unique gun. If you ever see one of these out in the wild and you have a chance to buy it and you can afford it, I would probably recommend doing it because this gun is awesome. But anyway, folks, just wanted to show this off to you, do a video dedicated just to it. And if you have any questions on it, feel free to ask. If I know the answer, I will tell you the answer. If I don't, I will try and find the answer for you. I'll just tell you I do not know. But hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching, and you folks have a great day.